Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Quant Network, aka QNT. So just dive in. And let's start with this tweet here from the Chain Media, and they are talking about QNT has incredible partners. Now, a lot of these partners we have talked about in the past. For an example, Oracle, PayUK, and a ton of other ones on here as well. But there's one partner that is missing on this list, and this is, of course, an old list where we did see a lot of the partners, like for example Mobi, Alliance Block, and all that. But one is missing, and that is IDB. And I love to see Son and L actually breaking this down here. We've actually talked about them, and of course Sia and Nexia are not labeled here as well, which we will get into if we do have time. But I do want to break down IDB. So first off, go check out Son and L 11 over on Twitter. Incredible Q&T content. But we do see Inter-American Development Bank is the largest multilateral source of financing for Latin America and is owned by 48 countries. Q&T level partners. And we do see 26 borrowers, 22 non-borrowers as well. You can see all of the major names on the board here. I know that's a little bit of a rough image. It's not the highest quality. But we do see down here, all third-party confirmed. LAC Chain has been in the build since 2017. A monster network. And here you guys have it. So we do see LAC Chain plus Quant. They have broken this down multiple times in the past. In fact, we've talked about them as well. Here you guys have Hyperledger Foundation, discover how the global alliance blockchain ecosystem in Latin America and the Caribbean. LAC Chain, supported by IDB Lab, uses Hyperledger Basut to create the world's largest permission public blockchain in the world. And here you guys have Gilbert Verdian. He's also interested in this post down here. And you can see we made it. It has been 3 years of very hard work in the LAC Chain ecosystem led by the IDB Lab in collaboration with more than 60 partners. Don't know what that really means, to be completely honest with you. In these 3 years, we have all together created a community of more than... All right, so more than. Okay, so I see what it is. I apologize for that. So more than 60 partners, more than 700 entities, and we have also developed and orchestrated a blockchain infrastructure that more than 90 entities are using for more than 50 different projects, most of them with different impact on social and financial inclusion and development. Today we have launched LAC Net, the first blockchain underlying orchestration vehicle that takes the form of a nonprofit legal entity and provides to the LAC Chain networks the legal and trust framework that production-grade blockchain-based applications and solutions need and demand in the use of blockchain networks. And again, this is an absolute massive network of huge entities. 700 plus entities, 60 plus partners, 90 plus blockchain infrastructure entities, and more than 50 different projects that are focused on direct impact on social and financial inclusion and development. This is huge. And then over here, of course, you guys do see all of the major names that are tied to this, and of course, Quant is a big one here. And I do think that these are some of the most incredible partnerships out there. We've talked about the PayUK partnership because the UK is essentially powered by Quant at this point. They have so many major updates around what they are utilizing Quant for. Also, I just wanted to share real quick the rest of that tweet from Hyperledger as well. While I do talk a little bit about some of the partnerships, there's so many great ones that we've brought up in the past around Quant, but I do think that IDB one is pretty big because this is like the world's largest permission public blockchain, and this use case is huge in terms of empowering an entire continent, which is their main marketing term when they do talk about this. But also some of the entities that have nodes deployed on LAC Chain, and shout out to Dread Bongo over on Twitter. BNDES, Citibank, Everest, Inter-American Development Bank, which is essentially IDB, multi-ledgers as well. If you don't understand how big this Q&T partnership is, I suggest you take the night to do some research on LAC Chain. And we've broken down LAC Chain in the past on how substantial of a partnership it actually is. And then, of course, we do see like Nexi down here, which we've talked about. And then over here, we do see from Quant Network themselves talking a little bit about regulation. So Quant founder and CEO Gilbert Verdian speaks to Forbes on how the U.S. risk falling behind on creating regulations for digital assets and crypto. Now, we've actually been talking about U.S. regulations for a while with XRP, and I do believe that they are dragging their feet, and I do think that they cannot afford to fall behind. And I also believe this is why we will see a lot of regulations being streamlined in the United States, and we will most likely see regulations by the end, I would argue, by the end of 2023, marching into 2024. I think that this entire space will most likely have full-on regulatory clarity. I think that we will see a lot more financial institutions jumping in on this space, a lot more banks, and also bank offerings of crypto. I think that most of retail will be able to log in on their phone to their banking app and instantly have direct access to crypto and crypto-related products. To me, I think that that's the end goal. I think that that's where we will have mass peak retail adoption that will continue to grow slowly, very similar to like the internet users. I mean, every day we will see more and more internet users, but it's not a substantial amount like we've seen, during like 2001 to now, right? But I do still think that regulations are big, and I think that they're a key to the extreme growth of crypto. And I think that that will happen eventually. I think that it will happen within the next 3 to 5 years. It could take a little bit longer, but I think that things are moving extremely fast. And of course, having Gilbert Verdian really kind of talk about regulations with Forbes is great, because when you actually look at his background, he is a giant within a lot of the areas around, for example, even the UK. He's also, again, direct access to some of the biggest names out there around payments, around government entities, etc. And I mean, just to mention a few here, so we could actually mention NSW, again, Secure Payments Task Force, EU Blockchain Observatory, Fed Payments, ISO TC307, which we are going to get to here in a second, Chair of DLT at BSI, Bank of England, CMORG, DLT for Public Good Committee, UK Parliament, and then of course Chair of DLT for Healthcare, HM Government. And you can see all the time here served. This is the name behind the game of Quant. And by the way, this is from Dread Bongo as well. But this is exactly why I say like Quant is the real deal. And they're continuously pushing update after update after update over on their Twitter page as well. They are not silent at all. If anything, they've been making as much noise, if not more noise, than most projects out there. And I've always said like this is the main focus point that you need to have during a bear market. Projects that are continuously building, not slowing down, expanding, having these events, holding these major events as well, and really kind of spreading the word, because guess what? This is the time where you want to be building, where you want to be focused on growth, and really kind of just pushing as much updates as you possibly can, because it will pay off, especially going into the bull market. And I do think that it has paid off in terms of the QNT price value. And also, talking about Nexi, shout out to Greg Lunt 27. We do see amazing stat. Nexi Group EU's #1 paytech processed 76% of in-store mobile transactions for all of Italy in the first half of 2022. Over time, QNT is positioned to capture this transaction volume as Nexi's DLT interoperability provider. And here you guys have it on October 2022. On the 18th, in the first 6 months of the year, Nexi recorded a 185% increase in in-store smartphone transactions in Italy, representing a 164% growth in volumes compared to the same period in the previous year. Paytech processed 76% of all in-store mobile transactions in Italy in the first half of 2022. This is absolutely insane. So you can definitely see the growth happening here. I do think that Nexi is going to continue to expand, and we also do see Sonano 11 responding with congratulations to SIA Press Office and Nexi Group on their merger. This is exciting steps towards becoming the European Paytech. We're looking forward to working with you, and this goes all the way back to 2021 when we first initially seen that partnership announced. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I really do think that everyone should be focused on a lot of these major announcements and partnerships, or I should say more so announcements that are with these major partnerships that we've talked about and addressed, because these updates are the type of volume that you could expect coming over to QNT. And it will happen in time. I think that in time we will see a lot more volume and value being pushed over Quant, and it is something special. And also, we do see over here from Site Gains with $233 billion in transaction value and growing crypto adoption. The crypto economy in the UK is booming. It's also the home of the #1 interoperability solution that connects any DLT to legacy or other Web3 infrastructure. And yeah, by the way, the United Kingdom, they have been really kind of putting in a major work ethic around crypto regulation, crypto adoption, and crypto plans for the future. And I do think that, like I said, with Quant being a big name in the UK, they're the only major project that I've seen listed on their actual website. With the substantial amount of work ethic also going into the Digital Pound Foundation from names like Quant and Ripple, I, I just don't see a future where QNT is not the main interoperability solution in the UK. I also think that everyone should be focused on what the United Kingdom is doing, because going all the way back to this post here around the US falling behind, I do think that the UK is also a clear player in this area of being like one that's continuously moving forward on crypto adoption and regulations. And I do think that the US essentially will at some point in time have no choice but to push regulations around digital assets and crypto, because every single major area around the world right now is moving fast on crypto because they understand the value proposition here. I mean, just Quant alone, in terms of Overledger, it is such a huge use case that can just not be overlooked. And I've addressed this multiple times on this channel just because of like the substantial amount of volume and value that it will unlock. And talking about that, I also want to end this video with Tokenizer. So Tokenizer posted this over on Twitter, and I was just like, you know what? I need to talk about TC307 again. I've talked about TC307 in the past, but this gives a little bit of a better breakdown on just how large of an area this is. So the adoption of TC307 has been happening rapidly for years, while retail is still focused on blockchain, and DeFi. And we do see ITU, UNC Fact, INATBA, Hyperledger BIS, and also LAC Chain. It's about time the retail side of crypto begins to recognize QNT for more than just Overledger. And here you guys have LAC Chain networks are blockchain networks developed by the LAC Chain Alliance as defined in the standard ISO TC307. These networks are classified as permission public blockchain networks as defined in ISO TC307. And then, of course, down here we do see Open Digital Asset Protocol, ODAP, from IETF, the Interoperability Working Group in Digital Currency Global Initiative, DCGI, which, by the way, this is a direct connection to Quant, if you guys didn't know that. Over here we do see ISO Technical Committee 307, the Cross-Chain Interoperability Working Group at the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance. And who is the major backers here? Well, take a look. So some of these names are from some of the biggest names out there around crypto. For example, Consensus, Essential, Hyperledger, Cactus. Here you guys have DLT Interoperability Study in ISO TC307, which, by the way, Gilbert Verdian basically founded this. Here you guys have Gilbert Verdian ISO TC307 SGS Convener, CEO and founder, Quant Network. And then we do see over here DLT Interoperability Practice in INATBA. But yeah, when we really kind of look at the substantial breakdown here, I mean, we really kind of focus on Gilbert Verdian founding ISO TC307 and how this is behind almost every single major entity within this. For an example, here you guys have Origin Chain Networks, UNECE, towards global interoperable blockchain infrastructure, 3 dimensions of interoperability in the agri-food supply chain. Again, copyright of ISO TC307. Again, this is huge. And then we do see down here, this is from Pankeri Bainsul. I hope that I'm saying that name right. I'm probably not, but this is the blockchain and AI, United States, UN, CFACT, and ISO. Again, from the UK, Global Talent Visa holder. And then here you guys have his background experience, United Nations, blockchain and AI expert. Blockchain and AI expert is again from ISO, and then from JP Morgan, blockchain research. Then over here, Daniel Iden, experience, BIS, the International Telecommunication Union, again, ITU, and then down here from the standards member, again with ISO TC307, which is centered on blockchain and distributed ledger technology, standardization of blockchain technologies and distributed ledger technologies. And again, ISO TC307 was founded by Gilbert Verdian. And this is like a big connection because we've broken down ISO TC307 in the past, but this is going to streamline the adoption of blockchain and DLT. And it's going to be centered around interoperability. And guess who's going to be providing the interoperability here? We already know who the big name is going to be. And the value and volume that will be pushed over something like this from these major entities out there is going to be absolutely massive. And I'm telling you, this is going to be something special. Pay attention to ISO TC307. It's a huge focus point. I'm telling you, it's just as, if not, it's way bigger than most of the connections that we have made with Quant. This is the big deal. This is the big show. And this is the serious things that you need to be watching for if you are a holder of QNT. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As it's up to you, all have a beautiful day, beautiful night. Wherever you guys are on this before, this has been Nick. Peace out, guys.